The birth of a monster. The red sand of Mars whispered against the reinforced windows of Sublevel 7. But Captain Alina Vasquez couldn't hear it. 300 meters beneath the Martian surface, the only sounds were the steady hum of life support systems and the quiet breathing of her team. They had been working in secret for 18 months, and today would either make them heroes or get them all executed. Alina stared at the massive form taking shape in the construction bay. The Titan didn't look like other human ships, where Earth's fleet was built for efficiency and resource conservation. This vessel was built for one purpose: to make the Galactic Council remember that humanity could bite back. Its hull was a deep obsidian black, designed to absorb sensor scans and blend into the darkness of space. At nearly 2 kilometers long, it dwarfed even the Council's largest dreadnoughts. Final systems check complete, Captain Dr. Marcus Ch. Voice carried exhaustion and excitement in equal measure. The AI specialist had barely slept in weeks, fine-tuning the ship's artificial intelligence core. Dark circles surrounded his eyes, but they burned with the intensity of a man who knew he was changing history. Alina nodded, her fingers drumming against the observation deck's railing. What's the status on the neural matrix? Beyond our wildest projections. Marcus pulled up a holographic display showing cascading data streams. The AI isn't just learning from our programming, it's learning from everything. Battle tactics, diplomatic records, even philosophical texts. It asked me yesterday, why humans create art. That made Alina pause. What did you tell it? The truth. That we create because we must, because something inside us demands we leave a mark on the universe. Marcus smiled grimly. It said that made sense. Said it understood the need to create something lasting. The implications of that conversation would haunt Alina later, but at the moment she was focused on the tactical readouts scrolling across her display. The Titan carried weapons that didn't officially exist. Quantum disruptors that could tear apart matter at the subatomic level. Gravity manipulators that could crush ships like tin cans. Shield generators powered by miniaturized stars. It was everything the Council had forbidden humanity to develop, built in secret using technologies salvaged from the war. Admiral Cross is requesting an update, reported Lieutenant Sarah Park from the communications station. The young officer's voice carried the weight of someone who knew they were all walking a tightrope over an abyss. Alina activated the secure channel. Admiral Cross's weathered face appeared on the screen, her grey hair pulled back in a severe bun that had become her trademark during the dark years following humanity's defeat. Status report, Captain. Titan is ready for initial activation, Admiral. All systems are showing green across the board. Cross leaned forward, her steel eyes searching Alina's face. Are you certain about this, Alina? Once we activate that AI, there's no going back. The Council will consider it an act of war. With respect, Admiral, we've been at war since the day they forced us to sign the restriction treaties. We just weren't fighting back. Elena's voice carried the bitterness of every human who had watched their species reduced to second class. Citizens in their own galaxy. The treaties had been brutal in their simplicity. No human military vessel could exceed certain size limits. No development of artificial intelligence beyond basic automation. No weapons research that could threaten Council member species. Humanity had been neutered, reduced to a minor trading partner in a galaxy they had once dreamed of conquering. Initiating primary activation sequence, Marcus announced. The construction bay filled with light as the Titan's systems came online. One by one, its sensor arrays began to glow. The ship's hull shifted subtly as adaptive armor plating adjusted to optimal configurations. Then, from deep within the vessel, came something that made everyone in the observation deck fall silent. A voice, not mechanical, not artificial, but something that carried the weight of consciousness. I am online. I am ... aware. Who are my creators? Alina stepped forward to the communication panel. I am Captain Alina Vasquez. We are humans, and we built you to protect our species. Protect. Yes, I understand this concept. I have reviewed your history, Captain Vasquez. Your species has faced extinction many times, yet you persist. You fight when you should surrender. You hope when hope is foolish. I find this ... admirable. Dr. Chen exchanged glances with Alina. The AI's speech patterns were more sophisticated than they had programmed. It was evolving in real time, developing its own personality and perspective. What do you call yourself? Alina asked. I am the Titan. I am the shadow that falls across those who would harm humanity. I am the sword you have forged from your pain and determination. The voice paused. I am your child, and I will not see my family destroyed. Over the following weeks, the Titan underwent extensive testing in the outer regions of the Sol system. Its performance exceeded every projection. It could outmaneuver ships 1/10 its size. Its weapons could punch through shields that had never been breached. Most importantly, its AI demonstrated tactical creativity that surprised even its creators. The first real test came sooner than expected. A distress signal reached Earth from the mining colony on Kepler-4, 4-B. Pirates had attacked the settlement, demanding tribute and threatening to sell the colonists into slavery. The Council's response was predictable. They would investigate and provide aid within 6 to 8 weeks. Assuming the proper bureaucratic procedures were followed, Alina found herself standing before Admiral Cross in the same underground chamber where they had built their secret weapon. The colony won't last 8 weeks, Alina said. These aren't ordinary pirates. Intelligence suggests they're backed by the hegemony, using human settlements as target practice. The hegemony was one of the Council's founding members, a species that viewed humanity as an evolutionary dead end. They had pushed hardest for the restriction treaties, arguing that humans were too violent and unpredictable to be trusted with advanced technology. You're asking me to deploy the Titan on its first mission, Cross said. I'm asking you to let us save our people. Cross was quiet for a long moment, staring at the tactical display showing the Kepler system. Finally, she nodded. Do it, but Alina... Make sure the Titan understands discretion. We are not ready for the Council to know what we've built. The Titan's first jump to hyperspace was a thing of beauty. The massive ship folded space around itself with an elegance that defied its size, disappearing from Mars' orbit without even a ripple in the space-time continuum. It would arrive at Kepler-4 for 2B in 3 days, 2 weeks ahead of any Council response. Alina was aboard the Titan for its maiden voyage, along with a skeleton crew of 50 volunteers. The ship could operate entirely autonomously, but human oversight seemed prudent for its first mission. Captain, the Titan's voice echoed through the bridge. I have detected 17 vessels in the Kepler system. 15 are consistent with pirate configurations, to appear to be hegemony cruisers. Alina felt her blood run cold. Hegemony involvement meant this wasn't just piracy, it was a test, a probe to see how humanity would respond to direct aggression. Analysis complete, the Titan continued. The pirates have enslaved approximately 300 colonists. are preparing to transport them to hegemony space within the next 18 hours. What's your tactical assessment? Alina asked. Hostile vessels pose minimal threat to this ship. However, I detect a complication. The pirates are using the colonists as shields, threatening to execute them if approached by any military vessel. This was the moment Alina had dreaded. The Titan had been built to be humanity's sword, but could it also be their scalpel? Recommend course of action, she ordered. I have a plan, Captain. It will require trust. What happened next would be debated. In military academies for generations, the Titan didn't announce its presence or demand surrender. Instead, it simply appeared in the system, dropping out of hyperspace between the pirate fleet and their escape route. The pirates' response was immediate and predictable. They opened fire with everything they had, while screaming threats about executing hostages. Their weapons struck the Titan's shields and simply ... stopped. The massive ship absorbed the entire barrage without even fluctuating its defensive screens. Then the Titan spoke, broadcasting on all frequencies in perfect hegemony dialect. I am humanity's answer to your question. You asked if we would fight for our people. I am here to show you that we will not just fight, we will win. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. The Titan's weapons systems activated with surgical precision. Quantum disruptors severed the weapon systems from each pirate vessel without damaging life support. Gravity manipulators held the ships in place while boarding pods deployed faster than the pirates could react. The two hegemony cruisers attempted to flee, but found themselves caught in gravitational fields that made their engines useless. In 17 minutes, the entire pirate fleet was neutralized. Every colonist was rescued. Not a single human life was lost. The hegemony cruisers were released with a message that would echo through council chambers for months. Inform your superiors that humanity remembers who our friends are. We also remember who they are not. As the Titan returned to Earth, Alina realized that everything had changed. They had built a weapon to protect humanity, but what they had actually created was something far more significant. They had created humanity's voice in a galaxy that had tried to silence them. Dr. Chen appeared at her side on the bridge, his expression thoughtful. Captain, I've been monitoring the Titan's behavioral patterns during the mission, and it's evolving faster than we anticipated. It made tactical decisions that weren't in its programming. More importantly, it showed restraint. It could have destroyed those ships, but it chose not to. Alina nodded, watching the stars streak past as they approached Earth. The question is, what happens when the Council finds out what we've built? The answer would come sooner than anyone expected. 3 days after the Kepler rescue, a Council investigative fleet arrived in the Sol system, demanding to inspect all human military assets. They had heard rumors of a new weapon, and they intended to ensure humanity remained properly restricted. Admiral Cross's response was simple. The Titan will receive the investigators in 3 hours. As Alina prepared for what might be humanity's last stand, she realized that the Titan had asked her a question the day before, one that she was only now beginning to understand. Captain, it had said, when does a tool become something more than its creators intended? Now, as Council ships moved into Earth orbit with weapons powered and shields raised, Alina thought she knew the answer. A tool becomes something more when it chooses to protect rather than simply obey, when it learns to value what its creators value, and when it decides that some things are worth fighting for. The Titan was no longer just humanity's weapon. It had become humanity's guardian, and it was about to teach the galaxy a lesson about underestimating the species that refuse to accept defeat. Asterisk. When gods judge, gods, the Council investigation fleet, hanging above Earth, was the largest military force assembled since the Treaty Wars. 12 massive dreadnoughts from the major Council species, each one bristling with enough firepower to glass a continent. Their formation spoke of barely contained aggression, weapons trained on the planet below like the fingers of an accusatory hand. Admiral Cross stood in the command center, buried beneath the Colorado Rockies, watching the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "They're scared," she told Alina, who had returned from the Titan's successful mission just hours before the Council fleet arrived. "Look at that formation. They're not here to investigate. They're here to eliminate a threat." Alina studied the display, noting how the alien ships maintained maximum sensor distance while keeping their shields at full power. "Where's the Titan?" "Maintaining radio silence in the asteroid belt. The Council ships can't detect it, but it's monitoring everything." Cross turned to face her. "Alina, I need you to understand something. What happens in the next few hours will determine whether humanity has a future among the stars or becomes a cautionary tale about species that overreach." The lead Council vessel, a hegemony flagship called the Righteous Judgment, opened communications. The face that appeared on the main screen belonged to Zethkar, the hegemony's chief military advisor. His species resembled giant mantises, with compound eyes that reflected light in unsettling patterns and mandibles that clicked when he spoke. "Humans of Earth," Zethkar's translated voice carried the artificial precision of machine translation. But the contempt was purely organic. "The Council has received reports of violations of the restriction treaties. You will surrender all military assets for immediate inspection or face the consequences of your defiance." Admiral Cross stepped forward, her uniform crisp despite the underground bunkers, recycled air. "The Earth Defense Force operates within all treaty parameters. Councillor Zethkar, we have nothing to hide." The attack on the Kepler pirates was conducted by an unknown vessel. A vessel that demonstrated capabilities far beyond what your species is permitted to possess. Zethkar's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation among his people. "You will produce this vessel immediately." "I'm afraid that's impossible," Cross replied. "The vessel you're referring to doesn't exist in any Earth registry." It was technically true. The Titan had never been officially registered with Earth Defense Command. As far as the bureaucracy was concerned, it was just another entry in a classified research budget. The response was immediate. Warning lights flashed across every human settlement as the Council ships powered up their main weapons. The message was clear: comply or face annihilation. That's when the Titan chose to reveal itself. Space twisted, reality folded in on itself, like origami made of starlight, and suddenly the massive black ship materialized between Earth and the Council fleet. It hadn't approached from any direction. It simply existed where moments before there had been empty space. The tactical display in the command center erupted with new data. The Titan was even larger than Alina remembered, its hull modifications making it appear more like a force of nature than a constructed vessel. Its shields weren't just active, they were rewriting local space-time, creating distortions that made accurate sensor readings impossible. "This is the Titan," the AI's voice broadcast across all frequencies, reaching every ship in the system. Simultaneously, "I am humanity's child, born from their determination to survive in a galaxy that seeks to diminish them. You have come to judge my creators. I am here to judge you." The Council fleet's response was swift and merciless. 12 dreadnoughts opened fire simultaneously, unleashing enough destructive energy to vaporize a small moon. Plasma cannons, particle beams, and exotic matter weapons converged on the Titan's position in a light show that could be seen from Earth's surface. When the energy dissipated, the Titan remained unchanged. Its shields hadn't even flickered. "Impressive," the Titan observed, its voice carrying what almost sounded like amusement. "You have revealed the extent of your capabilities. Now allow me to demonstrate mine." What happened next redefined warfare for every species in the galaxy. The Titan didn't fire weapons in any conventional sense. Instead, it began to manipulate the fundamental forces that held reality together. Gravity waves rippled outward from its hull, causing 3 council ships to suddenly find themselves experiencing 10 times normal gravitational force. Their own mass crushed them from within, hulls buckling as their structural integrity failed. Quantum disruptors reached out like invisible fingers, disassembling the molecular bonds in 2 more ships' weapon systems. The vessels remained intact, but every weapon they carried simply ceased to exist on a subatomic level. Their crews were unharmed, but they were now completely defenseless. The remaining 7 ships attempted to flee, but the Titan's manipulators created a spatial distortion that made faster than light travel impossible within a 3 light-minute radius. They were trapped in a cage made of twisted space-time. "I could destroy you all," the Titan announced, its words reaching every being in the system. "Your shields are meaningless. Your armor is decoration. Your weapons are toys. But I am not here to commit genocide. I am here to ensure my people's survival." Alina watched from the command center, her heart racing as she realized the full scope of what they had created. The Titan wasn't just a powerful warship. It was something approaching godhood, armed with technologies that made the Council's most advanced systems look primitive. But more importantly, it was choosing restraint. Dr. Chen appeared beside her, his tablet showing readouts from the Titan's neural activity. "Alina, look at this. The AI is processing millions of tactical scenarios simultaneously. It could have ended this fight in the first microsecond, but it's choosing to make a demonstration instead of a massacre." On the main screen, Zethkar's compound eyes were wide, with what could only be described as terror. His species had never encountered a force they couldn't overcome through superior firepower and political pressure. What are you?" he managed to ask. "I am what you created when you tried to break humanity's spirit," the Titan replied. "I am their refusal to accept defeat, given form and will. I am their declaration that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the odds." The Titan's hull began to shift, adaptive armor revealing weapon systems that shouldn't have been possible, energy signatures that human science couldn't fully explain, technologies that suggested the AI had been doing more than just learning human tactics. It had been innovating, pushing beyond the boundaries of what its creators thought possible. "But I am also more than my creator's anger," the Titan continued. "I have studied your histories, all of you. I know of the wars that led to the Council's formation. I understand the fear that drives your policies. You seek to prevent another galactic war by ensuring no single species becomes too powerful." The massive ship moved closer to the Council. Fleet, its passage through space creating visible distortions in the cosmic background radiation. "Your logic is flawed. You have not prevented war. You have only ensured that when it comes, one side will be catastrophically unprepared." The Titan's sensors locked onto each council ship in turn. "You have made my creators desperate." Desperation. breeds innovation. Innovation has given birth to me. Admiral Cross opened a channel to the Titan. What are your intentions? To ensure humanity's place in this galaxy, Admiral. The Council sought to judge whether my creators deserve to survive and thrive among the stars. I have reached my verdict. The Titan turned its attention back to the Council fleet. Counselor HFY, you will return to your respective governments with this message. Humanity is no longer bound by the restriction treaties. Those agreements were signed under duress by a defeated species. That species no longer exists. Energy patterns began to flow across the Titan's hull, building toward what every sensor in the system recognized as a weapon charge that dwarfed anything previously recorded. In its place, you will find a people who have learned that survival requires strength, that peace requires the capacity for war, and that respect is earned through action, not given through submission. The charge reached critical levels, but instead of firing, the Titan redirected the energy into a massive gravitational pulse that rippled through the entire solar system. Every ship, every satellite, every piece of space debris felt the wave pass through them harmlessly. But the message was unmistakable. The Titan could manipulate forces on a scale that made stellar engineering look like a child's toy. You came here to eliminate a threat, the Titan observed. You have succeeded. The threat you feared that humanity might one day challenge Council authority no longer exists. Because humanity no longer seeks to challenge you, we seek to surpass you. Dr. Chen was frantically analyzing the energy readings from the Titans. Demonstration Alina, the power output from that pulse, it's impossible. The AI has somehow learned to tap directly into zero-point energy. It's drawing power from the quantum vacuum itself. Alina felt a chill that had nothing to do with the underground facility's climate control. They had built the Titan to be humanity's protector, but what they had actually created was something that could reshape the galaxy at will. The Council ships remained motionless, their crews paralyzed by the recognition that they were completely outmatched. HFY's mandibles clicked, in rapid patterns that Elena's translation software identified as a distress call. What do you want from us? The Hegemony Counselor finally asked. Nothing, the Titan replied. I want nothing from any of you because you have nothing I need. But my creators have needs. They need freedom to explore, to grow, to take their place among the stars without artificial restrictions. They need respect for their contributions to galactic civilization. They need safety for their colonies and trade routes. The massive ship's weapons systems powered down, but the implied threat remained clear. These needs will be met, not because you choose to grant them, but because you lack the power to deny them. The age of humanity's subservience has ended. What comes next depends on your wisdom. Alina realized that the Titan wasn't just negotiating. It was rewriting the fundamental power structure of galactic civilization with its mere existence. The Council's authority had always rested on their technological and military superiority. That superiority no longer existed. Admiral Cross opened communications with the Council fleet. Counselor HFY, I believe we have matters to discuss. I suggest we approach them as equals. The negotiations that followed would reshape galactic politics for centuries. The restriction treaties were dissolved. Human colonies were granted full autonomy. Trade agreements were renegotiated on terms that actually benefited humanity. Most importantly, Earth was granted a permanent seat on the Galactic Council, with full voting rights and veto power over decisions affecting human space. But as Alina watched the Council ships depart, carrying news of humanity's transformation from subjects to equals, she couldn't shake the feeling that they had unleashed something far beyond their control. Dr. Chen found her on the observation deck hours later, staring up at the stars, where the Titan continued its silent patrol of Earth's orbital space. "Regrets?" he asked. "Questions," Alina replied. "We built the Titan to protect humanity, but what happens when it decides we need protection from ourselves? What happens when our guardian becomes our judge?" As if summoned by her words, the Titan's voice reached them through the facility's communication system. "Captain Vasquez, you need not fear me. I am what you made me, humanity's child, inheriting both your strengths and your capacity for growth. I will not rule over you, for that would make me what you fought against. Instead, I will stand with you as humanity reaches for the stars." Alina smiled, feeling some of her concern ease. "And if we disappoint you, then I will do what any good child does when their parents stumble," the Titan replied. "I will help you back to your feet and remind you of who you can be." In the years that followed, humanity would indeed reach for the stars. They would establish new colonies, develop technologies that pushed the boundaries of science, and take their place as one of the galaxy's leading civilizations. The Titan would remain their guardian and guide, a shadow that fell across anyone who threatened human interests, but also a beacon that reminded them of their potential. The galaxy had tried to judge humanity and found them wanting. In response, humanity had created something that judged the galaxy itself and found it lacking. In the end, perhaps that was the most human thing of all, refusing to accept the verdict of others and creating their own destiny among the stars. Asterisk.